So, Robert, I saw a little feature film the other day.
Is that right? What was that?
I saw Strangers Pray at Night.
Oh, yes. Sequel, of course, to the original Strangers film. How did it end up shaping up?
That was pretty good. I don't think it'll make much at the box office.
Okay.
Because I was there. It was 15 minutes to showtime, and I was the only person in the theater. And then people sort of sprinkled in during the trailers. So that means of the 5 people who showed up to this movie, only one person cared enough to be on time and be like, I gotta have, gotta make sure I'm here on time and all that. Want to beat the line.
And that was you.
Yes.
I see. But, yeah, I'd imagine it probably wouldn't make a lot of money this weekend either. March is kind of a weird time for horror. I just feel like it's kind of also dumb time to release horror.
Yeah, I guess you're right. It seems a little off. It's like fall seems to be the more traditional time, what with Halloween, obviously. But I don't know. I'm not sure this would have made a lot anyway.
Yeah, especially in the wake of Black Panther. It's just...
Well, yeah, it's just like everything's just cannon fodder right now. it's just like, try us.
Good luck.
Yeah.
But I guess, what were your thoughts about the movie overall? You said you ended up liking it?
I ended up liking it, but I'll say this. It had a few problems, and I feel like a number of critics have sort of been pointing those out. But I didn't think they were so bad to the point where it's like, this is the worst movie ever. Like, it was fine. And a lot of the complaints, it's like, well, that's kind of commonplace in horror movies.
Right.
Like, you can't always have a Laurie Strode or a Catherine Hicks in Child's Play where you just have a pretty good actor doing a good performance with a character you actually care about. I know that sounds like to say that in normal movies is kind of ridiculous, but really horror characters aren't always that important for it to be like at least semi-enjoyable.
I feel that.
Like, can you name me any of the counselors in any of the Friday 13th other than like the first one?
Jason's in it. But no.
But that's kind of the point. It's
Exactly.
it's really more about the villains.
Yeah.
And I thought the villains in this were fine. I thought they were really creepy. Mm-hmm. And I honestly liked the way they played with the whole like team aspect of it.
Right.
Because there's more than one killer. And it's not like other movies where it's like you think there's one but there's multiple, to throw you off for like a whodunit thing.
Right.
This is more like, yeah, they're working together because they're just a psycho family or whatever.
Yeah.
But you don't really know what their deal is.
That's
And
what makes it scary, I'd imagine.
Yes, and that's one thing I was reading the director, he was talking about. He's like, after a while with Halloween, the way they just kind of kept digging, and we discussed this with, Michael Myers being a druid,
Yeah.
whatever, like son of the whore of Babylon,
Right.
like, and then lightning struck, or like whatever,
Yeah.
like something weird like that. He said that kind of ruins the fun. And I don't entirely agree with him, but I see what he's saying. Mm-hmm. When you dig too deep, it takes away from the mystery.
Right.
And this, there's actually one point, I won't spoil it, but one of the characters kind of has a chance to hear why, and the killers are just like, they just don't tell him. And I thought that's way creepier. And yes, the characters are pretty awful, but what people are forgetting, the fun part about horror movies, you're like, man, this character sucks. And then it's like, okay, then they just like get killed, and it's like, oh, whatever. Like, they're sort of like, horror characters are expendable. Like, obviously it's better for them to be good, but it's not a necessity. Also, I just want to say that the setting worked really well. The cinematography was good. It was competently shot and all that. And I would say another complaint I was hearing was about logic problems. But then again, this is just one of those things. It's kind of unique to horror movies. If everyone was like a member of Mensa, it'd be kind of a boring movie. It's like, just imagine like they're all like a group of like Mensa people are snowed in somewhere and there's a killer in there. It's like, all right, so we're all going to stay together, and I'm going to make this triphosphate flux capacitor, and it is going to teleport us all out of here. Oh, by the way, I also made a bomb out of a bag of chips and a microwave.
Yes, it seems as though also that he's attacking us with a kitchen knife, which might clue into the fact that he has a bad relationship with his mother. So we're going to stage an intervention here.
Yeah, it's just like, that's like, part of the fun is like, come on, like everyone knows the old cliche, like, no, don't go upstairs. Why are you doing that?
I get that. That's part of the fun.
Yeah, it's part of the fun. And okay, there's a couple times where I'll agree where it's like, come on now. Mm-hmm. Like, without giving away too much. Oh, fuck it. I'll just... Spoilers.
If you care.
Which I don't think anyone does, based on the box office. There's a part where one of the killers, like, corners the mom character and the daughter. Mm-hmm. And she's, like, a teenager, so she's not, like, an infant or anything. Corners both of them with a knife. And I'm like, okay. Like, there's two of you. You should probably, like, figure out something, like, throw shit at her. Or, like, one of you, like... Or maybe, like, I thought the mom would be like, no, I got this. And then, like, the daughter comes in and it's like, all right, we disarmed her and we kicked her ass. It's like, wow, that was really dumb of her. Like, I'll agree, that doesn't get the it's a horror movie pass.
Yeah.
When it's like, you've established that these killers are normal human beings, like, not monsters or, like, super strong. Like, when you've established that, there should really be no reason that two people wouldn't be able to handle one of them.
Yeah.
So, I'll agree, like, that was really dumb. And yes, some of the dialogue at the beginning was, like, I'll say it was even too cringy for horror at times.
Okay.
But for the most part, once, like, again, it's like most horror movies. Like, once you get past the blah blah and you get to the part where, like, they all have to go into survival mode, it gets a lot more interesting. It's fine.
Okay.
And I like the lake house setting. Or, not lake house, sorry. It was like an RV, like, campsite kind of place. Okay. And I thought it was really creepy location because, like, that's, like, rural-ish locations or just, like, you know, woods. Mm-hmm. It's just, like, a scary place.
Oh, yeah.
And I think this movie kind of feeds on that idea. It's like, well, what if this did happen? And I've, like, thought about that kind of scary, creepy stuff, like, while I'm there. It's like, man, I really hope, like, Jason isn't, like, lurking about.
Yeah.
Because, like, the nearest police station is, like, a deputy dog one, and it's, like, 5 miles away. So, overall, I thought it was fine. And, yeah, I mean, there's a couple parts where the pacing's a bit boring. But once it gets to the, like, the shit hits the fan, it's, like, it's your pretty standard, decent slasher.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my question is, like, how does it, in your eyes, like, how does it compare to both the original Strangers movie and other horror movies today?
It's been a while since I've seen the original Strangers, but I'm pretty sure I like the first one better. I think it was a little more contained. Well, the other thing is, while this is also very short, it's like 85
minutes.
Yeah, it's not a long movie at all, like the first one. But I think the first one did a much better job of getting to the point faster. Since it is a short movie, it's like you don't need so much character development. And that's one of the issues I guess I had. It's not that the character development was crappy or whatever. It's like, I don't care if it's good or bad. It's a horror movie. As long as it's, like, enough to work with. Mm-hmm. Because this was sort of what I'd call, like, the sitcom nuclear family. Mm-hmm. Except different in some... Well, you had, like, hey, I'm the dumb, like, dad who used to be a jack. Or, like, you kind of... Like, he just looks like a guy from, like a Just for Men commercial. Mm. Like, hey, I'm younger looking than you think or, like, I may look young, but I'm older than you think. And then the mom who's just all like, oh, you kids. And then the brother is just like... The brother was, like, a little weird. It's like, they're going to drop the daughter off to boarding school. It's like the start. That's why they're going... They're, like, stopping by the lake house place as, like, a pit stop, just as a little family thing, before they drop her off at boarding school. And it's because they know, like, the kids, like, aunt and uncle own the place. Mm-hmm. So, the weird part I thought was when they're picking up the son, they're like, come on, we gotta go. They're picking him up at a baseball diamond, like, in Sandlot style. And he's, like, 17. I'm not saying that's not possible. I just thought it was like a little weird. It's like, I want to play baseball with my friends.
And it's contemporary, right? It takes place in present day.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's like the one thing that kind of stuck out about the writing is it was like times are different.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, like picking him up at the picture show after he's playing some stickball. See,
Yeah.
like, but again, those were kind of cheesy things that I found almost endearing because it's like, at least this is stupid, but it's entertaining. Mm-hmm. It's like I'm not like, how dare they? How dare they say that this kid would play baseball? I'm offended. This is a bad movie. I hate it. Like, I was kind of cheering for the rest of it to be just as awful. Mm-hmm. But then the horror turned out to be pretty good for the most part.
Okay. How was the, I guess you said some of the characters are bad, but how are the performances?
They start off kind of bad when they're like, we're a family. You know, that kind of like what I call the nuclear sitcom family.
Yeah.
Like the kind of family to be like, hold on, gang, team meeting. Like, I feel like that needs to be a sitcom. It's called Team Meeting, and it's just about a bunch of cliched, annoying characters, and the dad always calls for a team meeting.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry, that's a little tangent. But anyway, so Team Meeting family, their acting starts off kind of not great. But then once, like, shit hits the fan and people are getting killed, it's like they go into survival mode and, like, their acting's, like, it's not amazing, but it's, like, fine. It's like, it works. It's like, I get it. They're scared. There's a horror movie. I get what's going on now.
Right.
Like, there's not a lot of, like, moving pieces or, like, nuanced performances.
Yeah.
It's fine.
And finally, how were the deaths?
I thought they were pretty good, except the first one sort of sucked. Because it's one of those ones where it's like, it's only implied, but there's no real chase or anything. It's just like, oh, there's the mask. Oh, there's the killer. And that's like, dun, dun, dun. And they cut to like, blah, blah, blah. Here's the family. Doop, da, doop, da, doop. And that's like, I wonder where they're going. And I wonder what they're going to discover. So it's like, yeah, there's some like predictability, but it's like, whatever. Like, again, predictability is kind of part of movies anyway, especially horror.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that with horror movies, oh, you don't need characters like anything at all. I'm just saying they don't have to be like Shakespearean level sort of like, what's the word?
Development.
Yeah, there doesn't have to be like that much like development or like backstory or whatever. It's like you had enough. Mm-hmm. Like you had the one girl. Oh yeah, that's the art thing. So nuclear sitcom family. So the son's all like, I'm a smartass and I'm playing baseball with the guys. And the daughter's like, I'm in trouble. And she literally has a Ramones shirt on. I'm like, wow. It's like I feel like the costumer or like the producer, like, all right, so she's gonna be one of those rebellious people. They're like, they just like Googled like rebellion and they're like, punk rock? What's this? What's punk rock music. Okay, what's a punk rock band? Oh, the Ramones. Like, I mean, again, I'm having fun, like, picking this apart, like, a little bit. Like, it's not like I was, like, bored to death. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, so it was fine. Wait, what were you just asking about the...
Oh, the deaths.
Oh, the deaths, sorry. Got a little off topic. The deaths were fine, aside from the first one.
Okay.
And I think, like there's not, like, a lot to say about it. Like, they weren't overly gory, because you know how, like, the main argument with, like, horror movie deaths is, like, you want to show enough, but not, like, too much. Because there's that, like, gore versus implied. Right. I thought they balanced it pretty well.
Okay.
There's, like, a couple scenes where they, like, either they overdid the implied, I would say, at the beginning. Mm-hmm. And then there's one part where it's, I would say, overly gory, but it kind of worked. It's like the son is being chased.
Okay.
By one of the killers, but it turns around like real quick and like hits her with a golf club, and then he just like stabs her a bunch of times. It's like, holy shit. That was like crazy and brutal and intense. But it kind of worked because it's like, wow, this is what happens when a dude's like, when anyone's pushed into survival mode. Mm. And I thought that was like scary in a different way. It was like unsettling. Mm. And then the dad's death was pretty creepy. Actually, I thought that was pretty well done because they're trying to leave, and then something is thrown at their windshield, and the dad crashes the car, but he's like slightly impaled by this thing, but it's implied that it's not like all the way through him, but he's pinned down and he can't move. And then you see the killer just slowly get into the car next to him. You're like, oh no. You know what I mean? You're like, shit, this isn't gonna end well. So like, they're fine. Were they the best? No, they didn't like reinvent the wheel. And I'm sorry if they didn't turn into motorcycles in their dreams, like in what was it, Nightmare on Elm Street 4 or 5. Yeah. Or like smash people into the TV. It's just like they were as creative as they needed to be.
Were there many jump scares?
Not really. And again, I'm not an anti-jump scare people. And first of all, they're called dunts.
Yeah.
Not jump scares. Hey,
yes.
I don't like that phrase. They're called dunts. And when they're done well, it's like, I think of it like it's like choreography to a fight scene. It's just like the moves and the rhythm just have to work. And there weren't a ton of them, but they were used appropriately when necessary.
Well, that's good. I'm glad. It's, you know, I was hearing bad things about it, but it sounds like if you're a horror fan, you probably will at least end up enjoying it.
Well, it depends on what kind of horror. If you like the more modern stuff, like maybe you won't like it. But you know, I'm more of a slasher fan when it comes to horror. And I thought this was fine. It was nothing to write home about. Maybe it's not something to run to the theaters for, but if you're like jonesing for a horror movie, give it a shot. So I'd give it a 3 out of 5.
Okay.
Or on your scale,
a 6.
A 6 out of 10.
Yes.
So again, that's like saying it's not amazing at all.
But not
it's
particularly awful.
No,
or bad.
Not at all. Like, it was perfectly watchable.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you enjoyed it then.
Yeah. So that's my review for Strangers Pray at Night.